Hello, everybody. Welcome to everybody who is in the chat. It is so wonderful to see you there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, right? Depends on when you're watching and where you were watching from. But I always love seeing all of you here. If you're new to the channel, I'm Natalie, and this is Scientology Life After a Cult, where I recap Scientology news from all over that has people buzzing, as well as share about my 35 years in Scientology and how I escaped with 3 generations of my family. You want to hit that notification bell because though you can consistently catch me here in the mornings, 8 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Central Time, Saturday and Sunday, I pop in and do interviews throughout the day and sometimes on evenings with a variety of people, and you don't want to miss that. It is one of my favorite things. Truly one of my favorite things. Absolutely is. Welcome and thank you so much to my moderators this morning who are here helping out. Dip Me in Glitter, always great to see you. Nancy, and I think my Tony's here. I'll have to keep an eye out for him and see. I believe he is though. All right, we are going to talk about a variety of things today. We're going to touch a little bit on, we're going to kind of talk about celebrities. When are they going to speak out about Scientology? Why don't they? We're going to touch on that a little bit of Brad Pitt involvement too. Mike Brown did an amazing live last night with Christi Gordon and Mirriam Francis. We're going to talk about that. We're going to touch on some other SPTV creator news, some funny news with trolling Scientology, and some things that happen in Los Angeles with the protests, as well as Austin, Denver. There's a lot happening this weekend in Chicago because there's the opening of the Scientology organization happening there. And wait till you see that update because they are already doing stuff. Scientology Chicago is like already up to stuff with this opening, because they think that they can just do whatever it is they want because they don't follow the law of the outside world. They don't have to. If you follow my story and have been watching my videos from the beginning, you know I shared about when I had a Sea Organization member who runs Scientology Sea Org member boot camp, the Estate Project Force in Los Angeles. When my daughter was there and she wanted to leave and he wouldn't let her leave, and I said, hey, I'm going to be there tomorrow. And he's like, no, you can't come. I'm like, I have a legal right as her mother. She's a minor to come get her and see her. And he told me we don't need to follow. I'm going to say outside law because he used a different word, which now I know is derogatory. It's one we used in Scientology a lot. They still do to describe people not in Scientology. But that law, they didn't need to follow that law. It's totally their point of view, which is why it's not too surprising when they do many of the things that they do. So thank you again for being here. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, especially on your way in. Help us get some notifications out. Appreciate it, all of you. Okay, so let's talk about Brad Pitt. Now, this is a little bit of back in the day news, but it's kind of in alignment with what we're going to be talking about today. And this actually is a recent article that just came out a day ago about Brad Pitt's Scientology purification ritual would lead to a series of negative events with the church. Now, back in the day when Brad Pitt was 26, he was dating Juliette Lewis, who was a Scientologist. I think she was 17 at the time. And the gist of this story that I kind of really, the focus of it, we're not going to read the whole thing because it's kind of long, but I link down below to this article and all of the videos that I'm going to be talking about. And I highly recommend that you subscribe to the different creators who are creating this content, especially the ones who are out there doing the protests, because they could definitely use your support. All right. So Brad Pitt, right, back in the day, he's dating Juliette Lewis, who was pretty young herself at the time. And he did, I'm going to skip forward to the part where he did a little bit of Scientology. In 2020, an ex-Scientologist told The Sun that Pitt briefly joined the religion where he had a 15-year-old buddy with him during his purification saunas. Now, most of you you kind of know this part, that the purification rundown is a detoxification program that Scientology does, where they have you take high and dangerous levels of niacin and spend 5 hours a day in a sauna to sweat out toxins and drugs. It's one of the first things you do on the bridge to total freedom. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And Brad Pitt was doing this in Portland at Celebrity Center, Portland. So this person who came out in 2020 and shared this story said, while I was there, I met the teenage daughter of the executive director of a Portland-based Scientology company, they recalled. One of the things she told me was that Brad Pitt, who was dating Scientologist Juliette Lewis at the time, did the purification rundown at Celebrity Center Portland. He did it there to keep out of public eye. They clarified that the minor was safe the whole time. She was the daughter of an established Scientologist. She was chosen to be Pitt's twin. See, this is because when you do the purification rundown, you cannot be in there alone in the sauna. You need to be with somebody, with a twin. You do it with someone. And if there is not someone to twin with the person, Scientology will find someone as a C organization member, a public, somebody who has to go in there and be with them in the sauna. And I know this because when I was about 14 years old in Hawaii, I was tasked to be the twin for a out-of-town Scientologist VIP who was traveling for work. When you were on the purification rundown, you cannot skip a day. You have to do every day, even holidays, even if you're doing it over Christmas. It is an everyday thing. So while he was in Hawaii, he needed to do it. And I was his twin. And I think we used the sauna at the hotel that he was staying at. At the time, I did not think this was weird. I was uncomfortable because he was a much older man, half naked in a sauna. Nothing happened. He was not inappropriate in any way. But the fact of the matter is, as I know now, as I understand now, that's totally inappropriate. Who puts a teenage girl in a sauna with a man, with a grown man? And this story reminded me of that. It's something that I had forgotten about. I had not really thought about. And it's one of many things that as I continue here on YouTube chatting with all of you and learning more about these stories, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's right. We did that. And at the time, didn't think anything was wrong with it. But now I totally do. I'm like, ew. So you can check out that whole article down below and take a look and read the whole thing because it goes into much more. It tells much more. So be sure to check it out. Now, we are going to jump over to Mike Brown. Mike Brown, gosh, he did such a great live yesterday with Christi Gordon and Mirriam Francis. And they're all, second generation Scientologists. Mike was really getting into some interesting, really helping people understand how Scientology railroads their people or their ex-members into making them think that, oh, there's a path back. And technically there is in Scientology. Even if you are declared a suppressive person, there are steps you can do to get back into the good graces of Scientology. Why anyone would want to do that after they leave, I don't know. But there are people who I think more people leave and then are given a suppressive person declare than people who were found to be truly doing things that were justified, that were suppressive and then kicked out. Because I always tell you guys, I broke up with Scientology and then they excommunicated me, right? They tried to turn the tables there. But I always like to point that out. I broke up with you, Scientology. And this was like part of that topic. I'm just grabbed a snippet of it. But if you have not seen this, you got to get over and watch the whole thing because it is great information. And they even have some letters, which we're going to talk about. But check this out.
They had several evolutions. And whenever an evolution comes out, it's crazy town in there. But then also they really hammered down.
See that you'll see on all of these senior HCO things, they include barcodes because they must have some sort of file system in place.
He's going to show the barcodes on this. And this is basically was a letter that Mike received back in the day from Senior HCO International. Now, Senior HCO International is what's the person called the International Justice Chief. There's an International Justice Chief, and there is a Continental Justice Chief for each Western United States, Eastern United States. And I do believe the guy on the bike, I think he's the International Justice Chief who becomes the terminal in Scientology. That means like your point of contact for people who love, boy, my hair's like going crazy with the fan. I'm really having a Beyonce moment here. The hot flash fan is on extra high today. It's blowing my earbud out. So this guy, I think, is the international justice chief who's riding his bike and makes himself, for the person who is the only person that anyone excommunicated from Scientology can speak to make contact with any family that's in, or if they want to get back in the good graces, that okay, but you can't call him, you can't email him, you have to write him a letter today, okay? In 2024, Mirriam shares how she did reach out to him, and someone told her, like, no, you gotta send him a letter. You can't send an email. You can't call him. He doesn't take phone calls. And you know, I call shenanigans on that, because sometimes this is speculation. Sometimes the sometimes part is actually fact, but I'm speculating on this. Scientology, with their C organization members, will lose them or they get in trouble. And so they're being punished. And they will still use the person's name to correspond with outside contacts for Scientology, right? And like Karen Powell, no one ever sees her or hears her voice. You just get these letters with her name on it. And I'm wondering, is that what's not happening here?
At least have some stuff to share. They have more stuff than I do. They have kept everything I sent them, or anybody. It is very well documented. It's even freaking barcoded. I was told when I left, it just got worse and worse and worse there. And it was like, I don't know how bad that would have gotten. I'm glad I got out when I did, because my God, that's what my mom's now told me. She's, Mike, I'm so glad you left when you did.
See the barcode on the bottom? So apparently that's for some type of, tracking. And I don't know if a barcode is for a specific person and that's how they keep track of their files, or is it just specific to the International Justice Chief, who is the guy on the bike, and he is the International Justice Chief. I see that now.
You're able to do something with your life, and it just got worse after that. And I was just like, it's pretty fucking bad when I was there.
Show the video.
Hear over and over that over time it's just got, because you thought it was bad when you were there. You thought your experience was bad, but really it just ramped up, ratchet.
But I have heard the same thing, that it got far worse after. See, I left 2002. I left the Sea Org. And so our time frames are kind of close together. They had several evolutions. And whenever an evolution comes out, it's crazy town in there. But then also they really hammered down.
See that you'll see on all of these senior HCO things, they include barcodes because they must have some sort of file system in place.
It's the really interesting thing. There were multiple interesting things in this video that Mike Brown did with Mirriam Francis and Christi Gordon. But the thing about the barcodes on the email and the fact that you cannot call and speak to anyone, right? You just have to email them, can't be on the phone, can't do a video call. I'm assuming they're not going to do a Zoom. They totally should, which makes me wonder, is there a real person there? Is this guy okay? The guy that was riding the bike, right? Or are they just using his name? And the other interesting thing is how, when you compare notes with people who left at different times in Scientology, it does seem to be that things are getting progressively worse there. You'd like to think, or I'd like to think, that like when I left Scientology and I did a story with the Tampa Bay Times about their coerced abortions in the Sea organization, there was a period of time after that where supposedly that wasn't happening and they changed the rules. And I keep thinking, no, they're going to change because there's so much public pressure. No, they might for a little bit, or they just get better at hiding it. I just find it very bothersome that as they're talking about too, it just continues to get progressively worse in Scientology, specifically in the Sea organization. I wanted to get this video on your radar. If you've not seen it, it came out a while ago. We're just going to share a snippet. Scientology Murders and Cover-Ups is a full documentary, and link down below to the whole video. But if you've not seen this is a really good one. I'm just going to play a little bit from something that we have heard about. Lisa McPherson is an example of this, and they go on to share about other people who were members of Scientology who ended up deceased mysteriously. Definitely a good one to watch if you have not seen it, or if you haven't seen it in a while, because there's a lot of great information in there that reminds us why we're doing this. And that's something I always like to share, to remember why we're doing this and what it's about: exposing Scientology and the abuses, and most importantly, putting a stop to it. And somebody that's doing a lot of work in that realm is Liz Ferris. And I just wanted to share and celebrate. She had a goal to get to 5,000 subscribers and do a live with her wife, Carrie, and they did that.
We reached 5,000. It's like a It's monumental because you made a promise.
I did. I should have aimed higher.
Yeah, she's been saying that she should have what was it, 10,000?
Yeah.
You should have shot.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll do this again at 10,000.
Oh, don't give me that anxiety.
I think it's great. It's a really fun video to see Carrie on there together with Liz. And I just love the love. I love that if you're familiar at all with Liz Ferris's story, it's like she just deserves to be loved the way that she deserves to be loved, like anybody really. But with what she's gone through, it really warms my heart to see that she found her person and that they're doing this together and that Carrie is so supportive of her and her healing as well. So I absolutely love that. If you're not already subscribed to Liz Ferris, get over there and subscribe to her channel as well. Now, somebody from SPTV XENEWS Seattle went out to Comic-Con, which sounds like just a fun thing to do, and spoke to people from Starfleet who may be coming from the future the way it sounds, but I thought this was a lot of fun. And I had a bunch of people send this to me and I wanted to share it with you all. Check it out.
XENEWS Seattle with Yeoman Rand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're part of Starfleet, correct?
Yes.
So you've been around the galaxy.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of Xenu?
We've encountered many species, but no, I have not heard of that one.
Not heard of Xenu. Okay. Have you heard of Scientology at all?
I heard that it was this ancient cult back on Earth, way back in like the 20th, 21st century, but you know, we've moved past such things.
Excellent. And do you know anything about Scientology?
Only what I've read in history books about, like I said, ancient cults.
And so is there any Scientology in your day and age?
No.
No, Scientology has gone out the window.
No, we've given up frivolous cults, at least inside of Starfleet and on Earth, as far as I know.
We've given up frivolous cults. Oh, it just made me so happy because I'm like, you know what? One day that is going to be the reality. Scientology is not the only cult, but I think the great thing about getting the word out and educating people about Scientology and the abuses, how you fall into that, how you can become trapped by that, helps to educate people so that they can avoid any type of cult because there's so many. And there's a lot of them. There is a lot of them. It's actually kind of scary. But yeah, just I thought, you know what? One day, that's going to be it. That is going to be it. Now, Trolling Scientology did another prank call where they pranked Scientology and they went after the organization who focuses on kids. And this is Mace Kingsley. Mace Kingsley is a Scientology group that what Scientology refers to as a field group, meaning that they operate on their own, not as staff members of the Church of Scientology, but as a feeder line. Field groups feed people into Scientology missions or organizations. Field group outside in the field, feeding Scientology organizations. And this I thought was hilarious and at the same time reminds us that places like Mace Kingsley exist where they're auditing children, where they're putting them in saunas 5 hours a day with high levels of niacin. And as we all know, kids cannot consent. So let's take a look at this. You know, this is Trolling Scientology where they make those calls. Oh, I'm so here for it.
I found a Scientology org location that only audits children, or children do the auditing. New main target has been found.
Good morning, Mace Kingsley. How can I help you?
Good morning, Church of Scientology. May I help you?
Well, hi. I just got the call coming in here, too. This is Mace Kingsley.
What's that?
This is Mace Kingsley in Clearwater.
Okay. I did not call you.
I did not call you either. I don't know.
Oh, the orgs are cross wires again. Okay. I'm sorry. What org is this?
It's Mace Kingsley. It's big field group mostly for auditing children.
Oh, okay. Mace Kingsley. Oh, wow, that's bizarre. Well, hello from Phoenix.
Hello, Phoenix. Well, so this is the church in Phoenix.
Keep doing your good work.
Thank you.
Have a good
You
day.
too. You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Interesting. Interesting. And if you guys catch this comment from Liz Gale, hey, Liz. Mace Kingsley has been around forever. I did my first services and Purif. So that's a purification rundown, the sauna program. They're at 7 or 8 years old. That's sinking. 7 or 8 years old, which is usually once you learn how to read, if you're a child in Scientology, is about when they get you started on services. That's when I was, between 9 and 10, when I was seriously starting on my Scientology courses. And you'll remember it's because of my whole connection to Mark David Chapman and what happened in Hawaii and him going off and murdering John Lennon. And then, yeah, that whole thing. So, that's when I started. I did not do the purification rundown till I was, I think, 15 or 16. But you can see this Mace Kingsley delivers Scientology services to some pretty young children, and often ones who need some help, need some extra help. And Scientologists, their solution is to use Elron Hubbard technology, and they're told that this is what Mace Kingsley specializes in. All right, yesterday, I loved this. I loved it so much, I can't even tell you. I can tell you because I'm going to tell you because I'm telling you now. Aaron at Growing Up in Scientology had Jenna Miscavige on his channel, and they were sharing their own Scientology spy files. But the cool thing about this is they had like the Scientology side of it, and then had, Jenna Miscavige sharing her story about it and her actual committee of evidence, which in Scientology is basically like a court martial. And it was so fascinating to have her answer questions about it and be able to show this committee of evidence. Oh, it's so great. You got to watch the whole, I was just riveted by her story, but take a look at a clip from that.
The interested party's guilt or innocence.
Now he's reading the committee of evidence. This is like what they're charging her with. Okay. This is from Scientology and what they came up with after Jenna and her husband at the time left. Here we go.
The following charges and recommend accordingly. The interested parties are charged with the following: crimes, mayhem. More to come on mayhem soon. 2, placing Scientology or Scientologists at risk. 3, being a known accessory to a suppressive act. 4, refusal to uphold discipline. 5, case on post. How would you define case on post?
It's your case is like your reactive mind. So I guess it's like, I don't know, acting, and it basically just means acting in any way that's like dramatic or emotional in any way, rather than just sticking to your job and being like a robot.
That is exactly it. It's totally your expectation is you're like a robot. No case on post means you can't have any what they would consider to be negative feelings while you're doing your job. But you guys got to see this thing, because the stuff she was accused of doing and what happened, she had to physically fight her way out of a room that she was being held in and interrogated by Scientology. They charged her with like biting somebody, which she did, but to get away because they were holding on to her. It's amazing. You got to read her book. Her book has everything, but this was such a great interview. And I'm so thrilled that Jenna Miscavige is here on YouTube and going to be doing more videos and collaborating, because her story is really, really, it's important, like many of them, but it makes an impact, very impactful. We're going to hop over to Hollywood now, to Los Angeles, to La Poubelle. And once again, what is up with all the smoking? Why do so many people at La Poubelle smoke cigarettes? What is happening? It's like each time. So Scotty over at the Lore of DOA had a conversation with the bartender there. Maybe not so much as a conversation, because that would insinuate that it was two-sided. This was basically Scotty asking him some questions. And he is the bartender at La Poubelle.
Do you like bartending here? Is the money just that good? Are you serving falling grape wine? That's Danny Masterson's wine. Do you serve falling grape wine? Why did your owner, why did Francois get restraining orders? You can't find another bartending job? That you just stay somewhere where people drug women?
He is pretty good at ignoring. I will say that. I cannot help but wonder what goes through his head, right? As the bartender, you got to know what's going on. You had to have seen it. You were probably in the room when it happened, very possibly. The protests. How do you not get curious and look? I mean, obviously he doesn't care because he's just out front doing his thing. But I can't help but wonder, like, what goes through his head? What goes through their head? I would love to hear from some La Poubelle employees, which would maybe ex-employees, because probably if you're working there, you shouldn't come chat. But if you worked for La Poubelle, whether you're there now or not, and you would like to talk about this, hit me up, Natalie at lifeafteraccult.com. I would love to talk to you because I have questions. I have so many questions. Somebody else who had questions was Chris without a Hellcat, and he came across Applied Scholastics, and we're going to talk a little bit about them. Similar in ways, so you know how Mace Kingsley, we talked about, is a front group for Scientology. They feed children. Children go there to be indoctrinated. Of course, they don't realize that, into Elron Hubbard's works and into Scientology to make them into little dedicated Scientologists who they can send then to the SEA organization, onto staff at different orgs and whatnot. Applied Scholastics is a Scientology front group. So they are out there providing tutoring. They do these assessments and then they charge for tutoring. They are completely a Scientology front group. It says right on the front that they use Elron Hubbard technology. But boy, do they like to pretend that, what? Scientology? We don't know anything about Scientology. Anyways, Chris without a Hellcat, he gave him a call. He called him up, because that's how he rolls. He was just like, well, let's find out. It says right there, trouble with math, call. And he did. Let's take a look at what happened.
Let's call him, guys. Let's call him. Hey, how's it going, man? I wanted to ask, my kid, he's pretty bad at math. I was wondering, I just passed by, a couple days ago in Hollywood. I saw a poster. Do you guys do, free tutoring, or?
No, basically, it's a free assessment, and then free assessment afterwards. What we do is basically find the gaps. Your son, how old is he?
He's
Notice how he says free assessment. We do a free assessment before, and we do a free assessment afterwards. After what? Chris without a Hellcat had to pull it out of him. Take a look.
12.
He's 12 or he's 12?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really keep track. His mother takes care of him all the time. I lost custody a couple years ago, but he keeps telling me, hey, Dad, I'm bad at math. So I was like, let's sign up for something, right?
Yeah. Okay, well, basically, if you want, then the mother would have to come as well, and then we would do the free assessment.
Oh, okay. Me and her don't really get along. Does she have to come, or?
Well, yeah, because if you say that she lost custody, then basically we have to make sure that the parent who has the
okay. Well, you keep saying assessment, so is it not tutoring, or?
Do you know what assessment is?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, an assessment is basically the difference between an assessment and a test. Is that the test is you prepare to take this test, right? Like the driver's license. You got your driver's license, right?
Okay. So
that's a test.
So you guys do driver's license tests, or?
No. I'm just giving you an example because with test and assessment. So
gotcha.
When you take a test, you prepare for it, and then for a free assessment, is that, you just take it and then you find out what gaps you have, what you know and what you don't know.
Gotcha. What's on it? So I could tell him to study a bit.
Oh, well, again, it's not a test, it's an assessment.
Okay, but the assessment, you basically find out his strong suits and all that, right?
The gaps, yes, what he knows and what he doesn't know. He's struggling in what?
Like mathematics, yeah.
Right. So that would be the free assessment.
Oh, okay. And then you guys actually do tutoring?
Well, yeah, that's basically afterwards. So the tutoring, and then it's afterwards to see what he's missing and what he needs to fill those gaps.
Ah, okay. And is it free?
No, it's a paid service.
Bruh, how much would it cost for like do you guys do hourly or what?
It's a 10-hour block that you purchase.
10 hours?
10-hour block.
So also it's like a daycare then?
No, it's a 10-hour block of tutoring.
Okay, how much would that be for mathematics?
$300.
Damn, $300 for 10 hours. Okay, that's not that bad, daycare's.
It's just great, but at least he got him to admit, right? Well, we give a free assessment before and a free assessment afterwards. Why not just say, we do a free assessment to determine what type of help your child needs, and then you spend $300 for 10 hours of tutoring. After that, we give the free assessment again to check out his progress. How hard is that? Not that I'm trying to help out Scientology, but that's embarrassing. And I guess it's a good thing that the people they have working there aren't very good at actually selling it and being upfront. Yeah, 10 hours is not all at one time. Smooth Steve, I do believe they split it up. In Scientology, when you buy Scientology auditing, you buy 12.5-hour intensives. That's what they call it. A block of auditing is sold in 12.5-hour increments. They probably went with 10 hours because they're like, well, we can't do 12.5 because then it's going to sound like we're Scientology, because that's done in Scientology. At least that is my guess. That's my guess. Surrounded by Scientology in Clearwater, our friend George, he went to the city that we've been talking about. I keep forgetting the name. It's not Daytona. It's Daytona or something like that in Florida. Somebody tell me in the chat or in the comments where the mayor signed a proclamation for L1 Hubbard Day this year and then quickly took it back because obviously somebody went, what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, check this out. George, surrounded by Scientology, went over there to ask them to hold them accountable. Deltona. Thank you, Sandy McKenna. It is Deltona. And Likely Lost, you got it too. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ooh, moving so fast. Thank you, everybody. Deltona. Deltona. So that happens. So George goes over there and he's like, hey, I'm going to find out what's going on and talk to somebody like, what happened here? What's the deal? What's your policy on this? What do you think about that? And he got a great interview with somebody who's involved with the city there. So let's take a little peek at this.
Do you mind being on camera?
Not at all. Go ahead.
Excellent. Recently, there was a proclamation from the mayor regarding the Elron Hubbard birthday.
Yep.
And then there was a kind of a rescinding of that particular. Any idea how this may have come about, or can you help us understand why? I know Church of Scientology sends out all of these letters asking for that proclamation. Right. Any idea how this came about?
So I believe that the church did send out a request to the mayor because the mayor looks at proclamations. And the mayor decided to sign it. This did not come before the commission. I'm one of the commissioners.
Oh, I see that
It
you
did
are.
not come to our mailbox. It did not come to a meeting. There was no way for any other commissioner to have this information as it was sent to the mayor. I know of not one other commissioner that agreed with this.
Isn't that interesting? Like nobody else saw it. Nobody else got it. It's like this mayor just got it and just, yeah, stamp. This sounds great. This sounds like a good idea.
I believe that I made my point very succinct with the news journal when I said that I did not believe in endorsing a cult, period. And as the mayor stated that he was changing policy, but I believe what he meant to say is that we will be changing policy regarding how things are presented on behalf of the city when the city signs a proclamation.
Does it sound to you like she is a bit upset with the mayor? Like it sounds like the mayor just went willy-nilly and just did his own thing and just decided. She's like, none of us saw it. No commissioner saw it as well. And then the mayor's like, I'm going to take a look at changing policy on how these things are done. And then she totally throws him under the bus, as she should, and is like, no, I think it's pronounced we, the people who did not approve this, are going to come up with policies and procedures to make sure you don't do this kind of thing again. Oh, it's so great. Let's take a little bit more of a look here.
Awesome. That's some great information. Thank you so much. We are, and I'm from Clearwater, Florida, which is ground zero. And we are actually have our city elections coming up in 19 days.
Okay.
So we've got a city commissioner that was elected last cycle that was anti-Scientology. And he's the only one that is like you was able to come out and call them a cult. As you may know, but there's all kinds of information coming out now with some of the things that have happened. We're just trying to pull the curtains back and expose some of the things that are going on. Yes. Thank you so much. I was going to walk in and see whether the mayor would be willing to make a comment or the vice mayor.
The mayor is here. The vice mayor may be here.
Okay.
I love this lady. And George, of course. That was just fantastic. I love that he went over there and did that. And then it's like, okay, we're going to be putting in new policies. This is a wonderful type of accountability that anywhere you live, because Scientology, whether they are there or not, remember, there's no Scientology in this community. There's not a mission that we're aware of. There's not an organization, yet here they are getting that approved. You can reach out to your local government and make sure that they're educated about Scientology and the abuses. You can send them, if there was ever, especially if it was local coverage in your community about Scientology, send that to them. You can send them links to YouTube videos, and just let them know and help educate them on this so that when they get these things from Scientology, because they absolutely will. This is one of the things that Scientology does to go ahead and gain acceptance so they can use it in their propaganda event, which is coming up. That's why they're doing this now. It's Elron Hubbard's birthday, which is on March 13th, and they're doing the event probably that weekend. And all of these proclamations and approvals go into this event. And I'm very curious to see, are they going to use this one or are they going to pull it? How many did they get? We're going to want to know, and we're going to know, because guess what? We can then have people who live in those communities reach out to these elected officials and say, what were you thinking? Do you not know? Okay, we're going to give you benefit of the doubt that you didn't know. But now we're going to help you know and understand. And here is the information for that. So it's all going to come out. It's all going to come out. Sharon Hatt, thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. I appreciate that. Hip, hip, hooray. George is doing great things. I love that. I love that he did this so much. It was so great. I was checking in on Jay, Denver Scientology Audit, see what he was up to. He is out there protesting in Denver. As you know, we had him on the channel the other day to hear about what happened when he was handcuffed by the police after a false call saying that he had weapons, that kind of a thing. Even when they determined he didn't have weapons, he was still held. They tried to hold him accountable for making the call, despite the fact that they reviewed his live feed and could see there's no way he could be holding up a sign and be making this call at the same time. So what made me happy about this was seeing that somebody else was out there with Jay as well. So let's take a little look.
Did you just like see us go live and you're like, I'm gonna come out? Oh, heck yeah. That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming out here. Yeah, it's been growing actually. There's been people showing up all the time. So awesome. Let's see. Guys, I'm sorry. Let's see what we got going on in chat. Cindy, yes, we got Cindy out here. Apparently people know you. Awesome. I heard that.
It just was so great. I was so happy that somebody was there with him and more people are jumping in. And I think that Cindy, her name, is a mod for Confident Chris as well. And she just showed up to support. And it just made me happy. And she was getting a great response. Yep, that was in Denver. In Denver with Jay. Martha Sims, Scientology is like a really bad boyfriend. Boy, isn't that the truth? a really bad boyfriend that gave you herpes that just will not go away, and you're stuck on this mailing list for the rest of your life. The only way you can get off a Scientology mailing list that I have seen consistently is getting declared a suppressive person. They haven't emailed me or mailed me mail in ages. And they're good at tracking people down. So moving won't make a difference. Trust me on that one. Now, this weekend, we have some stuff going on in Chicago that is going to be very exciting because they are opening their new location. So Chicago Scientology is opening their new beautiful building that is going to sit empty. But you know what? They're going to celebrate that. And they're already up to shenanigans. They don't have approvals for stuff. They're doing it anyways. We saw a little bit of this in Austin, and I just wanted to grab a clip here from Shannon, who is explaining what's going on.
Cult of Scientology. So they barricaded 2 lanes and trash is out there. So I called the police, and meanwhile, I had sent him a copy of the permit, which is now approved. And so that he would know that they have absolutely no permit for today or tonight whatsoever. They have nothing that covers today. And of course, they had already barricaded the parking lane in front of their building and across the street from their building, so they could use them both. And when people were trying to park there, they had people out there in, those glow-in-the-dark vests, waving people away that they couldn't park there. So I called the police. The police came out immediately. In the meantime, I emailed and texted a copy of the permit to Trash. Hi, are you Dylan? Thank you so much for being here on zero notice. And the police came out right away and started removing the cones and told them, this is a no-go. You can't do this. So as soon as the police left and removed the cones, the church put some back out. They're on the sidewalk. And the church, somebody pulled into the east parking lane, which is across the street from the Cult of Scientology, and parked a giant, I don't know what it is, a camper kind of, but huge. Hi, Hillary. Hi, fat hipster. See you soon, right? So I called, so CPD answered the first time immediately. So Trashy is live streaming now, and he's got someone with him too. I apologize, I don't know her name.
So you want to keep an eye on this. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it. There'll be multiple people live streaming there. There'll be a lot happening today and also tomorrow. And I think it's so interesting and telling again of the attitude that Scientology has, that they are somehow above the law, that they are somehow above the rules. They don't need to follow rules in Chicago. Permit, schpermit. We're just going to put out cones, cone tech. They busted out the cones. And you know what? Maybe we should listen, because they do have those reflective vests, and that is pretty official. It's not like anyone can buy cones and vests at Home Depot or any place else and get out there with them and have it look official. You're not fooling us, Chicago Scientology. You are not fooling us. We can get vests and cones too. We see your cones and vests, and we raise you even more. Yeah, cone tech. Exactly, Zippy. Cone tech. This is something that, hey, Feral Cheryl. This is something that they think is going to be just a fabulous idea. We don't need a permit. We're just going to put out some cones, wear vests, look official, and tell people they can't park there. Just nothing wrong with that. That's not going to not end well, right? I cannot. And then the police come and move them, and then they do it again. I just can't. I just cannot with these people. I can't wait to see. Cannot wait to see. I wonder how the city feels about it, how the city officials feel about the fact that their ordinances and rules are not being followed. I would like to know. I would like to know. We need to find out. Oh, I'm so glad she's there. Trashy V12 BMW as well. That was Shannon. I got a link to her video down below. And it's going to be exciting. It's going to be an exciting weekend. We're going to find out what's happening. Jeff over at PTS for Life. Gosh, he just has been hitting it out of the park. He did a really good video. It was hard to even grab a clip, so I'm just going to play a part from it. because so much of it, there's so much information in it. There's going to be a protest today in Toronto. If somebody knows the time, Toronto time, if you could put it in the chat or put it in the comments. If you have details about that, let me know so that we can spread the word and support that. This is going to be in Toronto. And Jeff over at PTS for Life has been reaching out to his government officials and other people in school districts and holding them accountable. Why are you doing this? What do you think about this? What is up with that? All of these things. So I'm going to grab, we're going to pop into his video a little bit here.
No. And she showed up and she spoke at the event, did a welcome, and then left, according to her. And here she is. So this is the official blog for Miss Murray from November 28. Yep, November 28, 2022. And here is next to her Sharon Warner presenting her a multi-faith calendar, which they make. So I was a little concerned that Miss Murray was attending such an event, and it raised questions as to whether she knew that she was getting involved with the front group of Scientology called Youth for Human Rights. And so I sent her an email, which I will share with you here. And I will read it out loud for everyone because it's kind of hard to read, I'm sure, on your screen. Dear Miss Murray, my name is Jeff. I am writing you today to express my concern regarding your participation in a conference in November 2022 called the Youth for Human Rights Summit Canada at UBC. UBC is a University of British Columbia. It's a huge university, and it is kind of in the same area where Miss Murray, it's in her her riding, I guess would be the right word, which is the west side of Vancouver. I see that you posted on your blog about having spoken at it and supported the event. That's the link that I just shared with you guys. I continue. I am curious if you were aware that the organizers of this event, Sharon Warner, and the Youth for Human Rights, is actually a front group run by the Church Scientology International.
See, as you guys know, Scientology uses their front groups, like the Citizens Commission on Human Rights. They try to position themselves with any type of multi-faith organization wanting to bring people from different faiths together. They did this in Ventura with an interfaith community, outright lied about their stance on multiple things, including whether or not they would support same-sex marriage. They outright lied about it, and they want to infiltrate these groups so that they can position themselves as, well, we're just another group helping people. We're just, we're fighting for human rights, and it's total BS. They're Scientology front groups, and then Scientology takes this back to their membership and uses it as propaganda to tell their members, look at us, look, she's touching an L. Ron Hubbard book. So surely we're widely accepted.
With the ultimate goal of recruiting new members and quote-unquote safe pointing local politicians such as yourself. The Church of Scientology actually makes this information very difficult to find on their website, and I am worried that you did not know that you were supporting them. And I sent her a link to the Wikipedia regarding Youth for Human Rights International. I asked her the question, did they make you aware of this before attending? As you may be aware, the Church Scientology is involved in activities which are definitely not in alignment with the Liberal Party, which is the party she is part of, and certainly not your constituents. These include family disconnection, child abuse, human trafficking, and actively attacking anyone who dares speak out against them. They're involved.
Jeff does such a good job of laying it out, and it's such a well-crafted email because it's not attacking her. It's, did you know? Are you aware of? Have you seen that? And giving information like that. And there was another part. I didn't clip this because I was just like, I just could not find a part where I was like, oh, just this part. There's so much. Well, he got a response, and I do want to go over that.
Share here her response, which is here. It raises so many more questions than it actually answers. It's astonishing. All right, so Miss Murray, actually her team, not her individually, wrote back, Dear Jeff, thank you for your email to Member of Parliament Murray and for highlighting this issue. The individual who sent this invitation to our office is a known stakeholder who has sent us correspondence and invitations to our office on a variety of issues over Murray's 16-year tenure. Okay, so now my first question is, who is the individual? Interesting that they say they're a known stakeholder, but they don't actually name who it is, what organization, anything. And I also want to know what correspondence and invitations have been sent to the office. And has she attended any of these other events? Because I can't find any evidence of it.
That is just such a great point. And his response, it goes on to say that during the scheduling phase, the organizers of this event did not disclose their affiliation to the Church of Scientology. Furthermore, the organizing group that we were in contact with was not called Youth for Human Rights International, meaning that a Google search on our end would not yield any responses indicating their affiliation with the Church of Scientology. Additionally, during the event, there was also no mention of Scientology. MP Murray attended briefly, offering a quick welcome to participants and left soon after. The issues you have raised highlights an issue of due diligence and challenges that are inherent in serving the thousands of constituents in Vancouver. Oh my goodness. This is amazing. And this is what so many people can do in their own areas. And fortunately, there's a few people who watch the channel that have reached out and are creating lists of here was a Scientology event. Here are the people who attended. And then we can reach out to them and say, do you know, are you aware of that? Because you know what Scientology's been doing? Using different names. So you'll have the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, and then you'll have the front group under that, which will have a different name. That's how they're trying to hide further the connection to Scientology. And they're all doing it. You could have the Foundation for a Drug-Free World, which is a Scientology front group, run right out of the Hollywood Guarantee building in LA by Sea Org members. But you could have a front group like, Kids Against Drugs or something like that with these different names. So these front groups, they're literally front groups of the Scientology front groups. You see? This is how they're getting these proclamations approved. This is how those sometimes come straight from the church. But getting other acceptance, how they're getting people to show up at these openings, to come to a ribbon cutting for a drug-free world event, things like that. They have front groups of front groups. And it does take digging to find out. But here's the thing, if enough of us, especially you beautiful, never in Scientology people, reach out locally wherever you are and you educate today your elected officials, no matter how small your community is, you make sure they know and they have some kind of documentation or a file that they can pull out, which tells them about Scientology. Better yet, if you have the bandwidth, get involved locally in your city. Join a planning commission in a city, join a park and recs commission in a city, go to city council meetings. Sometimes you can watch them online. Get to know the people who are making the laws in your community and enforcing them, so that if something like this comes up, you are there and ready and prepared, and they have the information. I think this is just so powerful. And I absolutely love it that he's doing this. This is so amazing. Go watch the whole interview with Jeff, because he did a couple interviews. He did one on protesting and tips for protesting, because there's going to be a protest in Toronto today. It's just, he shares so much information. I love it. I love all of it so much. I can hardly stand it. All right, let's see here. Make sure that I got everything here. So big things we want to watch for today. We want to keep our eyes on Chicago. We want to keep our eyes on Toronto. Today, it looks like at about 1 p.m. Central Time, I'm going to be doing a live stream with Aaron at Growing Up in Scientology. We're getting the band back together. It's been a hot minute. So if you can be around for that live, it's 1 p.m. Central Time. Come for that. Otherwise, catch it on the replay. And let's see here. Let me make sure here. Also, let's see, is Pearl Snappy? Is Pearl still here? She did there is, you know what? There's one more thing I want to share with you guys, because this actually kind of creeped me out, to be honest. This was Pearl Snappy in Austin. And you know, she's been out there for a while. They know who she is. The police know who she is. Scientology has handed over their dead agent packs, as they're called, about Pearl Snappy to local law enforcement. So they know who she is. And there is someone posted outside. Oh, you're here? Okay, good. I want to share about this video because it was so creepy. Take a look at this. Hold on a second. I'm going to just cue it up correctly. It was the funniest thing. Funny in a weird, creepy way, as only Scientologists can do. And you'll notice you see, and Pearl Snappy, tell me again, is this a police officer or is it something else? Because I remember you saying in a video that it was not quite the police, but something like that. If you can tell people in the chat, you know, the guy here standing outside. But while we wait for that, you guys got to see this. He's wearing the headphones so he can't see her or hear her, right? This is Scientology bull bait straight out. He's trying to push your buttons. He's out there. I've got my headphones on. I can't hear you. It's just so weird.
Don't touch my stuff. Don't touch my stuff. Don't touch my stuff. Yes, you did. Don't touch my stuff. Don't touch my stuff. Back up. Back away from me. No, you've yelled at me before. No, you've yelled at me before. Back up. Back away. Yes, you have. I have it on film. You're going to lie on film now? Get inside, you coffin dodger. Go to the light, bro. Go to the light. Oh, good. Well, then keep walking. Clearly you can. Clearly you can hear me. Thank you.
I love that whoever that was, law enforcement or otherwise, jumped in and tried to diffuse that because it needed to be. That's what the guy was doing, just trying to push your buttons. I got to give him props for trying and doing something original, like with the, with the big headphones on there. Earmuff tech. Exactly. Smooth Steve. This is earmuff tech. That is a mouthful. Earmuff tech. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Oh my gosh, it was so great. And she she just let him know. Yes, such a weirdo. Totally. 100%. 100%. Blow Drill makes an excellent point. He is communicating with a via flunk restart. Great job, Pearl Snappy, for holding your space. Truly, a via in Scientology is you're not allowed to, you can't be talking like this. You're expected to communicate just being perfectly still and speaking in a little bit of a robotic tone, only using your intention. Oh, she just went at it, though. She went at him. And you, Pearl Snappy, props. Shout out to you. Well done. Well done. But I love the earmuff tech. Scientology is coming out with some different ways of combating these different protests. And I mean, let's be honest, they're hilarious. Some of them, earmuff tack. We've got manure tack around the celebrity center where they're just putting manure all around thinking that's going to keep people away. It probably will, including their own people, but hardly anybody goes there anyways. So much of it. And I'm here for it. We're going to see all of it. I cannot wait to see what is happening and going on this weekend. I'm still waiting on, too, some new original music by Pearl Snappy and some collaborations. I think that's going to be gotten to eventually. It's just things have been really busy, really busy. Neuropsych, yes, a lot of flat effect with Cult of Scientology. Very much so. Very much so. That's something that for some kind of carries on for a while. Stephanie, yes. Pearl Girl. Yes, I love that. Pearl Girl. Reiki Essence is saying, just couldn't figure out to remove the earmuffs? Like a kid covering his ears saying, you can't hear me. Pearl Snappy. Yes, Pearl Snappy for the win. And that is exactly what he was trying to do. And it's just hilarious. Not the Titanic survivors needing high decibel ear protection. High decibel ear protection. That's right. Maybe he was just trying to block out some of the sign. Remember, everybody, hit the subscribe button. Check your subscribe button. because we are working on giving Elron Hubbard the gift of expansion for his birthday on March 13th, which is hitting 20,000 subscribers and blowing right past it, because Scientology loves straight up and vertical statistics. So we're going to give it to them. And Pearl Snappy definitely will be continuing to give it to them. Julie, so glad that you made it to a live. Yes. Go watch her video. There's so much in it. I swear I could do a whole show just taking clips from what she's doing. It's just so funny. It is so funny. Elizabeth Gross, I can hardly stand an hour in a sauna. Yeah, so that's in reference to the 5 hours that Scientologists spend in there, taking high levels of niacin, which is quite dangerous. Auntie Harju, good point. High levels of niacin are associated with heart attack, stroke, so not recommended. That's so funny. Jenkala, that's funny. That's from Aaron's video, growing up in Scientology, his interview with Jenna Miscavige, when after she bit somebody and that came out, people in the comments started saying maybe her name should be Jenkala. I think we can do better than that, but I think that that's absolutely hilarious. Neuropsych, I thought it was a federal law that restaurants were non-smoking. That's how I understood it too. They're not supposed to smoke in that, where they got their little tent section there. That is supposed to be for outdoor dining. I just don't understand why they all is it a thing like with a restaurant because it's French? I don't know. I can't figure it out. It just blows me away when I see so much of that. It just truly does blow me away. So we're going to keep an eye on this afternoon. We're going to keep an eye on Toronto. We're going to keep an eye on Chicago and see what's happening. I hope you join me live at 1 p.m. Central today, where I'm going to be on with Aaron at Growing Up in Scientology. If you hear something, say something, email me a clip, a video with a timestamp. Tell me what I'm looking at. You can send that to Natalie@lifeafteroccult.com. And then hopefully I can share it here on a recap. I appreciate you guys, all of your support. Shout out to all the members. Thank you so much for your support as well. Everybody get out there and have the most amazing cult-free day.